Now, of course, when people get to know you, they'll judge you by more than just how you appear. But physical, outside, inside. Here's what's good advice. Make sure the outside is an excellent reflection of the inside. Interesting phrase written. It says, God looks on the inside, people look on the outside. So you got to take care of both. The inside for God and the outside for people. What's the old phrase? You never have a second chance to make a first impression. So the outside appearance is also valuable, as well as inside vigor and vitality. Somebody says, well, people shouldn't judge you by your appearance. Let me give you a clue. They do. Take care of both. Here's another one. I had to work on being late. For the people that are always late, what do they care? They're not there when you get there. It doesn't matter, but if you truly want to make progress, not alienate, right, in the marketplace, here's what's acceptable to everybody. Being on time, right? Not being on time is acceptable probably, to a lot of people, but some, it's going to cost you. Now, the mind must be nourished. It's got to have good food. Food for thought. Bread for the head, we call it. Yes, you need a slice of toast in the morning, right, for your body, but you need a slice of cassette. A slice of cassette you put in the car system and listen and listen. Let something feed your mind. Stand guard at the door of your mind. Don't just listen to anything and everything. Make sure that you're your own best filter of what goes into your mental factory and spins out the fabric of your life and future. Stand guard at the door of your mind. Spend time. Be a selective listener. But you got to have a good diet, a good mental diet. When you walk into a home and walk into the pantry of the kitchen, you take a look what's in there. This family's either going to be healthy or it isn't going to be healthy. And a lot depends on what's in the cupboard. What you bring home, right, from the grocery store that you feast on for the body. Now here's what's important. A proper menu for the mind to make sure that it's got a wide range of nourishment. Because the mind needs the full education. Now, that starts to develop the foundation for what we call a good life, a productive life, a fulfilled life. And we need this mental input. 2 days is a little staggering in terms of sort of a crash program. And you couldn't do it every week, a couple of days every week. It would be too much. But a couple of days to just really concentrate for a while. Hopefully I send you away from here tomorrow a little mind-weary. Right? Of taking all these notes and trying to get it all and trying to think about it while you take notes. I know it's an intense session of a couple of days, but I'm telling you, it's going to be so valuable for me to express it and for you to get it. Because then you just load up your wagon full of stuff here. Mental wagon to take it home and sort it out and decide what's valuable to try today. Some that you're going to think about a little bit later, but now at least you've got it. You've got it. You've got it. So that you'll have mental food to feast on long after the lights are out and we've left the premise. So, feed the mind, debate, exercise, a continual diet. You can't go too long in between the classes and the schools and the seminars and the sermons where things are being taught of value. Here's what else is important. You got to go to everything you can afford. Have a good plan, weekly plan, monthly plan to go to a variety of things. Go to a variety of things. Go to a variety of things. And don't miss the chance. Even if you're involved in a certain company and they say, we're going to have a training class. You say, I've been to one of those. I'm asking, you got to go again and you got to go again. You can't get it all the first time. Here's what the early Christians were taught. Don't neglect the assembly. Why? We got a brand new idea. One is it's being challenged. We need the strength of each other and the exchange of ideas to make this thing grow. And 2,000 years later, it's a very vigorous movement. But they were taught when it started, don't neglect to get, every time they call a meeting, make sure you're there every time they call a meeting. And whatever industry you're in, whatever company you're in, when they call a meeting, make sure you're there. When they call a little training class, make sure you're there. Here's why. Some of them are going to be life-changing. And you don't know which experience is going to be life-changing. You can't pick the one. You just got to go, 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 go. One is life-changing. You go, 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 go. Another one is life-changing. You go again, you go again, you go again. Another one is life-changing. For the people that were there, somebody that you met, something that you heard, and that one was just perfect. The atmosphere was right, the crowd was right, and everything was right, and you'll never be the same again. And you don't know which one that's going to be. That's why you've got to pursue. Go often. Have a good plan for the search of knowledge and ideas that can inspire to the best of your potential. So now we've got the physical, We've got the spiritual, we've got the mental parts of personal development. Now let's keep going. Ideas plus inspiration. Make the note, we need ideas for goals and plans to design our life for the future. Tomorrow we'll do the workshop, setting goals for the next 10 years. Ideas for plans to achieve those goals. But here's what else we need. Inspiration. Emotional vitality. Without that, the ideas won't progress very far. They may serve you to just get by, but I'm sure you haven't spent this kind of money and this kind of time to pick up ideas just to get by. But we want to be able to flourish. However, that is a human being's two major objectives. And you might make these notes. One is to survive. First, we must learn to survive. Second, then, we learn to succeed, which is beyond survival. But most people settle in just in sort of the survival mode, enough to get by. They've got all these resources to tap, and they don't tap them because, they're getting by. Their kids aren't starving. They got a roof over their head, and some clothes to wear, and food to eat. But to go way beyond that, to flourish, not just to survive, but to flourish. I'm sure that's what all of us are here these 2 days for, to find more ideas on how to do that. Now, the idea part is fairly basic and upfront, right? We're going to talk about time management ideas. We're going to talk about leadership ideas. We're going to talk about good health ideas. We're going to talk about all kinds of ideas. And they're fairly easy to put forward. Here's what's a little more tricky, inspiration. Who knows why one's inspired and one is not inspired? Here's what I call it. It's a good thing to remember for the rest of your life. It's called the mysteries of the mind. And you'll be confronted with that forever, the mysteries. Here's what we have to do with most mysteries. Leave them mysteries. And learn to be curious instead of dismayed. Say, why is it this way? Say, I don't know. You get your own planet, you could rearrange it some other way. But on this planet, we seem to be guests. So you figure out how this one works, whoever set it up, right? We follow how it's been set up. Then if you get a chance for a planet, then you can rearrange the whole deal and say, well, I'm not going to do that, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. So if you ever get that chance, you can do that. But hey, on this one, it was prearranged before we dropped in here. But on the spinning planet headed somewhere, right, what is the deal? And part of it is a mystery. One of the mysteries, where did we come from? Where are we going? Some of those are a bit unfathomable. We try our best to understand. One writer said, what? We see through the dark glass. We think we've just about got it figured out, but it's a little hazy, it's a little dark. We can't see it quite as clear. But all of our lifetime, we keep searching for ways to see it better. Someday, hopefully, it'll all be clear. But some things are mysteries. I do a seminar like this, someone walks out and says, I'm going to change my life. Someone else walks out and says, oh, I've heard all this stuff before. Why two different reactions to the same seminar? Just make the note, it's a mystery. And I haven't tried to solve that. You say, well, I'm going to make everybody walk out and say, I'm going to change my life. See, no, you can't do that. It's going to be however it's going to be. And the key is to be curious and not dismayed. Let the mysteries be mysteries. Interesting story says the day the Christian church was started, a magnificent sermon was preached. And if you read the account of the sermon that was preached the first day the Christian church was started, it was a magnificent sermon. And it was a magnificent occasion. It said there was a multitude that heard this sermon, meaning what? A lot of people heard it. But there was an incredible variety of reaction to the people that heard the sermon. It said some that heard the sermon were perplexed. And I thought, wow, this looked like a pretty straightforward sermon to me. Why would anyone be perplexed? And here's the simple answer. They are the perplexed. I mean, if you try to figure that out, you go crazy. And here's what I learned to do. Leave the perplexed. You can't straighten this out. It said some that heard this great sermon laughed at the speaker and mocked, laughed and made fun of him. I'd say, well, hey, this guy looked pretty sincere to me. Why would anyone laugh and mock? And it's a simple answer. They are the laughers and the mockers. And there's nothing you can do about that. You can't straighten it out. You can't turn it around. You just have to let be whatever is and let it be rather mysterious, but learn to be curious and not dismayed. Then it said some that heard this sermon didn't know what was going on. And they're easy to spot. They're usually saying, what's going on, right? They don't know what's going on. Someone says, well, they should know. Well, your shoulds and shouldn'ts ain't going to affect it. It's like saying the sun should come up in the west. Say, no, you got to leave this stuff alone. Just let the mysteries be mysteries and let what happens, let that all be. So some were perplexed, some mocked and laughed, some didn't know what was going on, but here's the rest of the story. It said some that heard the sermon believed. And that's who the speaker was looking for. The believers mixed in this whole mysterious array of human reaction to the same presentation. And you've just got to let this whole mixture of reaction be a mixture of reaction. And you can't be dismayed by it. Otherwise, the only cure for it is to get your own planet. Otherwise, there is no cure. Because I used to try to straighten all this stuff out. In the beginning, I used to say, I'll make them successful if it kills me. I almost died. You can't do that. It said some believed. And that's who the speaker was looking for, the believers out of this massive audience of a multitude. Now, here's what was interesting. It said the number that believed was about 3,000. So it was a pretty good first day. So make the note. You can have a good day in spite of the mystery. In spite of the mystery of reaction, in spite of who's who, in spite of what happens, in spite of the full variety of human reaction and human behavior, in spite of the whole mix in each community, in each place, in each school, wherever, in spite of this whole mysterious mix of how things are and how humans react and how they behave, here's what you can have: a good day. 3,000 the first day. Wouldn't you call that a good day? 3,000. I've had some pretty good days, but not 3,000. Amazing. So, let the mysteries be mysteries. But inspiration, hopefully I've caught you at the right time where you'll be inspired to listen, inspired to take notes, and then inspired to give it a try. And this is all I ask after the seminar's finished. Just try some of this stuff. Some of the ideas I'm going to share with you the next 2 days. Just give it a try. You never know till you try, Papa said. See if it'll work for you. And then here's what's next. Refine it all as you go. First you learn, then you try, then you refine, then you evaluate, and then you pass it on. But here's the key, is to turn response into results. I appreciate applause, but applause is not the deal. For me, here's what's valuable, is to have this stuff work in someone's life. To have it make a difference in someone's income, have it make a difference in someone's financial future, have it make a difference in someone's health, measurable difference in someone's future and health. That's my game. And if I can give you something that'll help make a measurable difference as time passes, see, that's what's it for me. Key phrase, results, is the name of the game. I do another seminar called The 5 Major Pieces. It's also the title of a book, but here's those pieces. 1 is philosophy. We're affected by what we know. Next is attitude. We're affected by how we feel. 3rd is activity, or disciplines, or work. Labor, it's called. We're affected by what we do. And number 4 is results. Learn to measure and count to see how you're doing. Making progress is the name of the game. And here's how I describe it. Measurable progress in reasonable time. That's what we ask of our kids. That's what we ask of everybody. Make measurable progress in reasonable time. But results is the name of the game. We don't study philosophy just for philosophy, or attitude just for attitude, or discipline just for discipline. These things by themselves serve no purpose. But these 3 items invested in labor, in the work, produces results. Now we measure our results to see how our disciplines are working, how our attitude is working, and how our philosophy is working. And if the results aren't to your liking, there's only 3 places to check: discipline, attitude, philosophy, personal philosophy. It's a pretty simple process. Some people check interest rates. Well, but, that's not where the real problem probably is. Check what you know. You may need more knowledge. Check how you feel. You may need to adjust your attitude. And check your disciplines, and you may need to add a couple to the ones you're already engaged in. And that'll start immediately to changing the results that you can measure, that you can count. And you might add one more word here: weigh. Okay, weigh and count and measure. Because the game is productivity, progress and productivity. Then something we're going to talk about, which was number 5, which is lifestyle. Because here's the ultimate expression of life, and that's to live a good life. Living well is the ultimate expression, not philosophy, not attitude, but living well. Hopefully I'll give you some guidelines that have come my way, translating response to results. Now, just finishing up, make these notes. To get the most out of the 2 days, here's number one. Everybody would agree on number one. Be thankful for what you already have. Here's the next one. Be eager to learn. I know all of you already know a lot, but be eager to learn the rest. I've learned a lot in my years, but I'm eager to learn the rest. Now I'm trying to capsulize my learning. I'm trying to accelerate my learning, right? Because I don't have a couple hundred years left. So I've got to accelerate my learning curve, especially in the next 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 years. And I'm asking you to do the same. An accelerated learning curve to maximize the time. To learn as much now in 1 year as you used to learn over 5 years. Just accelerate the curve. Eager to learn. No matter how much you know, you can always learn a bit more. Improve your life, sometimes to a startling degree. Some of the great fortunes of the world were made, what? After someone turned 50, 60. Because now they've got all this experience. Now when an idea comes, they invest 50 years. They invest 60 years in this idea, and it explodes into fortune. So as maturity comes along, what a great time now to come up with good ideas, because now you can maximize their possibilities because of your maturity and what you already know. So be eager to grasp that next idea, because it could explode your health, explode your life. It could start a whole new realm of future for you at dimensions you never even thought of, the next idea, the next couple of ideas. So be eager to learn no matter how rich you are, how healthy you are, where you are. So no matter where you are, be eager for that next idea. Some of you have been teaching like I have for years and years and years, but be ready for the next idea, because it could explode now your teaching career. It could add new dimensions because of where you are and because of your age and because of your maturity and because of whatever. The next effort you make to get something, no telling what that may add in terms of multiplication in your life and your ability to affect the lives of other people. Amazing. Here's what also I'd ask you to do. Argue later with all the stuff I'm going to cover. Wish we had time to debate every issue, because a lot of this stuff's up for debate. Nobody knows that better than me. And I've been doing my best all these years to debate, my point of view, as well as to listen from the other point of view. But, I would ask you to argue later, because we don't have time to open up discussion for every point that I'm going to cover in the next 2 days. But here's what's important. Debate all major issues. Some issues are fairly sort of obvious. Say, well, I can see the positive side of that right away. But some need discussion. Now here's what's valuable, to discuss some things with someone else. Debate back and forth. In Israel, one of the great forms of learning is debate. You walk into the classroom, wow, it sounds like confusion. Where they get a hold of an idea and one gets on one side and one takes one position, the other one takes the other position, and one says, this is it, and someone says, no, you're mistaken. Here's what you failed to read. Someone says, well, I didn't know that. And then they advance their point of view and say, no, I think you're wrong here. You haven't done your research. How about this, this, and this? The person says, oh, you're right. I didn't do that research. And this verbal debate back and forth goes on in Israel. An Israeli part of learning is this debate. So here's what's important, is to debate the major life issues. In good health today, the great debate is on, which has given us advances we've never had before. So here's what you must be, though, in the debate: a good student. Open to learning, defending and learning. That's what's important, not just to defend, but to defend and learn. Defend your point of view until it's sort of obvious that you've got to give some ground here because you haven't done your research. But this debating is important. We have to debate the health issues. One health book says, do this, you'll live forever. The second health book says, if you do that, you'll die young. So here's what we should do. Make the note, right? Be a student, not a follower. This is important advice. Not to be followers, but to be students. Be no one's disciple except the Lord's. You wind up in Waco, Texas. Be no one's disciple. But be a student. Someone says, well, these 2 books now have opposing views about health. Here's what you should do. Answer. Read both books and make up your own mind. Read both books and see if you can't figure out some way so that it applies to you, maybe drawing from both presentations. Not to follow one or the other, but to draw from one or the other, or maybe both, and develop a plan for you. Here's some of the best advice I've got for you. Make sure what you finally do is the product of your own conclusion. Make sure what you finally do in your financial pursuit, in your health pursuit, in building a good family pursuit, in developing your spirituality. Make sure what you finally do in pursuit of that is the product of your own conclusion, meaning you've processed differing points of view. You've processed what you've learned matched with what someone is teaching you. Here's what's important. No one voice has all the answers. I certainly don't. I only have my point of view. I only have my perception. But my perception may be valuable. What if I say to you, did you ever look at this from over here? And you say no. So you walk over here where I am and you take a look and you say, wow, I never saw it from over here before. And maybe that look from my point of view is an interesting perception. It may reveal something that from over there looking at it, you missed it. You missed my point of view. Not that my point of view is the point of view, but it is a point of view. Right? There's a difference between a point of view and the point of view. Here's the first skill that revolutionized my life: sales. Learning to present a product and service to the marketplace. I multiplied my income by 5 first year. Multiple skills. So now I got 2 skills: milking cows and making sales. But the skill revolutionized my life. I had never seen that perspective before, of how I could so dynamically affect my income by learning this extra skill. Amazing. So be eager to learn, argue later, but debate, right? Is it for me or isn't it for me? Do I have the temperament? You know, what is the deal? Should I start now and learn, or should I postpone it? What should I do? All of this stuff is very good. Turn it over in your mind till finally you decide. Next, become a good listener. It is difficult. We live in such a busy time. It's going to be a little difficult to shut everything out for 2 days. Just concentrate here. Because our life's out there, right? Our family's out there, and our friends are out there, and our business is out there, and things are going on out there. Things are happening out there, right? And sometimes out there, we get sort of distracted thinking a lot about what's out there. But if you can, to the best of your ability, zero in here, give you the best of your attention that you possibly can. Let me just at least start our first subject for today. It's called Enlightened Self-Interest. Part of human nature is self-protection. Part of human nature is self-survival, self-development, so that we can defend ourselves and explore the possibilities in ourselves. Self-interest. Now here's the big question: is that okay, self-interest? And here's my best answer: if it's enlightened. If it's enlightened. Otherwise it turns to selfishness. And here's the unique thing about selfishness: it is not in your best self-interest. We must learn that early. When a little child, grabs something away from another child and is selfish, doesn't want to share it. No, that is not in your best interest. And at first it doesn't seem like it. At first it seems like, no, what's in my best interest is what's mine is mine and what's yours is mine, and this whole sort of selfish idea. But this is part of becoming a civilized society, is learning that truly in the long run your best interest is served by not being selfish. But here's what we cannot do: deny our own self-interest. But if our self-interest becomes educated, it can be uniquely served so that everyone benefits and no one loses.